presentation there on authentication in Plone, single sign-on with Active Directory and the Holy Grail. And in that I did a live demo showing a product we developed called NetSite Windows Auth plugin, showing authentication through two means. First of all, against a Kerberos server running on a Linux box from a Mac environment, and also then a Windows client authenticating against a Windows Active Directory server against for a Plone site running on Linux. So just to give this demo as a screencast so people who weren't here can see it, what I've got is I've got a Plone 4.2 instance here. I'm going to add a Plone site, just a plain vanilla site. It's just creating this site. This Plone instance was built out with the NetSite Windows Auth plugin as an egg in the build out file. So here we go, we've got a plain vanilla Plone site. I'm just going to go into the site setup and I'm going to do two things. First of all, I'm going to create a user here. Put them in the administrator group. And there we go, we've got a user created. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just switch the default workflow to be the intranet workflow. That has the effect of making the site login only. So there we go, if we go to the home here, if I bring up a new browser, if I switch to Firefox and go to this site, then it does as you'd expect and brings up a login form asking you to log in. And so I could log in now with the username and password I put in, but the goal of this is to do transparent login. So I want to be logged in without having to go there. It's really easy. All I need to do is, if I go to the Zope management interface, go into ACL users, and there's now a new plugin called SPNego Kerberos plugin. SPNego was the protocol that Microsoft created for transferring Kerberos tickets over HTTP. Stands for Service Principal Negotiation. I've created that there. I'm now just going to activate that for authentication, challenge, and extraction. And for those of you that don't know Zope's authentication mechanism under here, there's a system called PAS, the Pluggable Authentication Service, and you can have multiple plugins and they can all be responsible for different parts of the authentication process. So we've just enabled it to challenge the user for credentials, extract those credentials from the user, and then try and authenticate them. So go back to ACL users. All I need to do now is just set the SPNego protocol to be the highest priority for the challenge, which means that will be used by default. So now I've done that, if I go to Firefox, then well, first of all, let me just double check this. No credentials, good. Let me just move that over there. Right, let me just clear that. Right, if I go to Firefox now, go to the Plone site, same thing, login box. Now, MacOS uses Kerberos as well, so if I do a klist, which lists my Kerberos tickets, I've got nothing there. I can do a kinit, and it'll attempt to authenticate against the Kerberos ticket server. We have key distribution server, we've got NetSite, which happens to be running on Linux, running MIT's Kerberos. And it didn't ask me for credentials there because it's actually using the credentials in my Mac keychain. So if I do a klist, you can see I'm now authenticated to the Realm Net site as the user Matt H, and I've got a ticket granting ticket. If I go back to Firefox, reload the page, boom, I'm automatically, magically logged in. You can see Matt Hamilton there. And if I go back here and do another ticket list, you can see we have a ticket there for the Kerberos demo site. And that's because ahead of time, the server that this is running on has I've created a service principal on there, copied it over from the Kerberos server. But there we go, automatically logged me in. You can see that there. Now I can show you if I log out again. It takes me to the login box. I can even go and clear all my history and cookies and everything just to show you that this isn't a trick. I go back to the site and boom, I'm automatically logged in again. What's pretty cool is that I can go and create another user in here, another local user for instance. Say I create here Ben Ackland, Ben create him there, and I can actually log out as myself, and I can manually log in as Ben. Now this is something that you can't really do in, say, something like SharePoint. With SharePoint, the authentication, integrated authentication is either on or off. It's very difficult to have locally defined users as well as single sign-on users. So here I've manually signed in as Ben Ackland with a local username and password. If I log out as him, I'm logged out. If I just click on the site again, it'll automatically log me in. And if I go back to my Kerberos ticket cache, if I destroy my tickets so that I've got nothing there, go back here, if I log out, click on the blown logo, it takes me back to the login form. See, no automatic login unless I've got a ticket. Do that again and I'm in. So that's all great. That's a browser on macOS authenticating a clone site running on Linux against a Kerberos server running on Linux. But as the name of this suggests, Windows Auth plugin, the main purpose of this was for Windows. And I can show you if I do a remote desktop session. I can do a remote desktop session to a Windows XP client. This Windows XP client is connected to a Active Directory domain that's totally separate to the Kerberos realm that I was using just now. It's a totally separate realm. If I go here, click on Internet, IE comes up, and okay, apart from telling me I should switch to IE8, it's automatically logged me in there. Again, it knows who I am through the credentials I used when I logged in to Windows. This plugin will run either under Plone on Linux or will run on Plone on Windows. Either way, it works just as well. But what's pretty cool is, as you can see from the slides, if you look onto the complex setups, similar to what I've demoed here, you can have multiple Active Directory, or in this case, one Active Directory and one plain Kerberos realms, and you're authenticating against the same site. This here is the same site that I was looking at. So if I do this and edit this page, welcome to Plone Open Garden. See, that's there. If I switch back to my Firefox, right, you see this is the same site. It's the same site running on the same Linux web server running Plone, but I'm authenticating two different environments, macOS and Windows, against two different authentication servers. One an AD server, one a plain Kerberos server. Okay, I hope that was useful. What I've not covered in here is how this was set up with regards to distributing the keys. If you look in the NetSite Windows Auth plugin package on GitHub, there's some details there on exactly how that's done. But there we go. Thanks very much.